The game described as Pokemon with guns blows up on Twitch, unsurprisingly. Disney's card game Lorcana gets competitive, and the speedrunning dog, who is a very good boy. I'm Ash Dixon, and this is GINX News. Palworld, you know, the game that's basically Pokemon with guns, is looking to be even more unhinged than we ever could have imagined. It's currently in early access, and that means people have been having a field day over on Twitch. And from the previous trailers, we already knew that you could slaughter hordes of creatures with rockets and establish your base fueled by POW slave labor, but it just gets so much worse. First up, as streamer Coney discovered, there's just straight up human trafficking in the game. That's because as well as POWs, you can get human companions, and yeah, you can sell them off to strange cloaked figures just as easily.
Selling humans is the meta. That's crazy.
And if you want to be even more cruel, you can just outright butcher them instead, such as how Pirate Software discovered when this happened.
You ready to butcher yourself, Trelawney?
And right now, if you've never heard of Palworld, you're probably pulling the exact same face. It's essentially a multiplayer open world survival and crafting game, but also Pokemon. That's right, you can run around with your gun-wielding pals with up to 32 people. It drops tomorrow on PC and Xbox, and better yet, it's on Game Pass. And to really help you understand what's possible here, you can wield foxes and use them like flamethrowers, or use this chicken thing and launch egg grenades straight out of its butthole. The whole thing is just an unethical fever dream, and I cannot wait to see how Peter implodes on itself when it sees it. On a serious note though, the game visually looks great, and it just makes me wonder what the Game Freak have been doing for the last decade. I know Palworld is on PC and Xbox, but let me just remind you that the latest Pokemon game looked like this. So yeah, considering it's the 5th most wishlisted game on Steam and it's blowing up on Twitch right now, you can bet that all sorts of crazy shit is about to go down. And that's why you should subscribe to this channel right now, because first of all, you know, 1,000 subs would be nice, but 2, because you can bet that we'll be here to give you all that weird, unhinged gaming news every day. Yay. Disney's trading card game Lorcana is getting a competitive scene. It launched last year, and from a business perspective, man, did it make sense, because bundling together Disney fans and card game fans is a surefire way to make a whole load of money. And boy did it sell. The first set basically sold out instantly, leading to scalpers being scalpers. In other words, huge cucking funds, meaning all the decks and booster packs were just stupidly expensive. Things have improved since the release of the second set, and due to Ravensburger just printing more of everything, so there's now a bit more to go around. And for those unaware of the game, I'd say it plays most similarly to Magic, although instead of land cards, you can use most of your regular cards as mana, or ink, as it is in Lorcana. I've played it a little bit and it was alright, but I think that was mostly because the first set was pretty basic gameplay wise. That's often the case with card games, and I'm sure it will evolve and grow over time. Which is why from May, they'll be kicking off the North American and European circuits. There'll be all sorts of local and regional events, all culminating in an invite-only World Championship in 2025. And I think it's just great news. I've been getting more involved in the Pokemon TCG scene lately, and while I love the game, man, our TCG community's just male dominated. My partner and I recently played a tournament, and she was one of 2 women in a 40-person event, and while most people she played against were lovely, one dude was an absolute to her because she had the audacity of being a woman. I'm really hoping Lorcana can address this. Don't get me wrong, us guys can love some Disney princesses too, but hopefully this new generation of players is just a bit more gender diverse. Ultimately, I love this hobby, and I just want as many people to be able to join in on the fun. Although, I can't help but picture a certain scene taking place at these Lorcana events. Just picture it, you have some bright-eyed girl excited to play the Elsa deck that she built herself. Well, because she loves Elsa. She rocks up, excited to play against some other Disney fans, and her first opponent is none other than an overweight man reeking with BO. He wipes away at the spilled Monster Energy on his anime waifu t-shirt as he pulls out his double-sleeved Ruby Amethyst Bounce meta deck. Before little Amy has the chance to say, "Let it go," he sinks her faster than the ship Elsa's parents were on. As her eyes begin to fog up, she looks up at the gasping man. "Get good, kid," he mutters, without making eye contact. welcome to card games, Amy. And as much as I don't want to paint all TCG players under one brush, after all, I am one, let's just say from first-hand experience, that stereotype exists for a reason. Anyway, I'm curious what you all think about Lorcana. Have you given it a go? Do you plan to play it competitively? If so, what deck are you running? Let me know down in the comments. It's time for a quick fire round because, let's be honest, the internet has destroyed our attention spans, so let's just ramp things up with some quick, obnoxious jump cuts. Plants vs. Zombies 3 has seemingly soft launched out of nowhere. Yep, I totally forgot that this franchise existed, but hey, it was all the rage 10 years ago, and now it's back. Well, only if you're in the Netherlands, Australia, the Philippines, or right here in the land of old King Sausage Fingers. If so, it's on iOS and Android, and for the rest of you across the world, it's coming out at some point next year. Or just use a VPN. And speaking of VPNs, today's episode is sponsored by no one, obviously. Look at the views. But that's not the only sad news. Rock Band 4 has officially ended its weekly DLC releases. And for most people, they had no idea that this was even still happening. But for us rhythm game fans, these tracks have been a drip feed of sustenance in a very, very barren wasteland. And mad props to Harmonix for dropping 3,000 DLC songs over the course of 8 years, because that is some commitment. But the move makes sense because they also make Fortnite Festival, and with instrument support on the way, there are definitely greener pastures ahead. Not only that, it looks like we might be getting completely new instruments too, so now your living spaces can once again be dominated by lovely plastic peripherals. Next up, dogs. Speedrunning dogs. Not the kind that go zoomies around the garden, I'm talking about dogs speedrunning games. More specifically, Peanut Butter. Alongside his owner JSR, he took part in Games Done Quick this year, and while sadly he missed beating his world record time on Gyromite by just under a minute, he still managed a rather impressive time of 26 minutes and 24 seconds, all while being a very good boy. It was wholesome, it was cute, and he still earned a whole load of belly rubs. And it's with that I say goodbye. Thanks for watching, I love your faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.